Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the forum. Today, we will be discussing about a framework for effective instruction from the art and science of teaching. All right, I'm very glad to have all our panels here today. And let me take the opportunity to uh, welcome all our panel and introduce them to you today. And we have Miss Esther Lowe, Head of Instructional Planning, Miss Elvon, Head of School Operations, Mr. Alvin Yuen, Head of Psychology and Counseling Section, Miss Kathy Chong, Head of Professional Development Department. Thank you, panel, for your time. All right. Without further delay, we will go into looking into the framework for effective instructions. Now, we know there has been a lot of changes in the current setting of education in Malaysian context, and the changes happened right after the pandemic. And during pandemic, there have been a lot of struggle that teachers and students, learners went throughout the pandemic session. Now, maybe your opinion or your ideas will enlighten us better today. All right, Miss Kathy, let's start with you first, yeah? Can you explain to us about teachers' knowledge? How important is teachers' knowledge, and how will it impact our students?
Teacher knowledge is vital for expressing and communicating with students in the classroom, in addition to being represented in teaching ideas, teaching behaviors, and learning settings. Teacher expectations for students must be realized through thoughtful teaching design. This is to achieve students' objectives. The result is that teachers must undergo trainings and learn before they can teach. I have some suggestions for teachers. For instance, as a teacher, you should give the students positive expectations, such as recognizing their potentials and showing confidence in them. Students can benefit if they feel their teachers trust them. Teachers can convey students' expectations through teaching behavior, and teachers should understand and design learning objectives and relevant tasks to help students understand the importance of learning objectives in real life by using meaningful tasks. Teachers can sometimes motivate students to learn by setting specific challenging goals. In order to achieve challenging goals, students must work hard, look beyond what they know, and develop complex knowledge. Set mastery goals for students and guide them to achieve them. Mastery goals focus on improving knowledge, understanding, and ability. So, they tend to learn deeply about information and long-term memory, resulting in real and meaningful learning. My conclusion is the teacher should encourage students to combine their knowledge, abilities, and attitudes to ensure effective communications.
Thank you very much, Miss Kathy. That was a very good insight into teacher knowledge. And I really like the way that you said that, teachers should encourage positive expectation from your students. Yeah. And that really makes a lot of impact on the students. Because when the student knows that, the teacher has a positive thought towards them, that brings them a long way. Yeah, thank you so much, Miss Katie, for your input. All right. Now we will go to, I would like to ask Miss Elvon about instructional delivery. Miss Elvon, can you please explain to us the instructional delivery and engagement in the Malaysian context,
Okay, sure. Thank you so much, Ms. Tharani. So for me, teachers are engaging and have fluid lessons. These are the most important. They have student-centered lessons based on the student's personality, types of intelligences, as well as their learning styles. Teachers should have diverse activities, example, physical and online games, experiments, Q&A, as well as have authentic relationships with students. Teachers should have collaborative learning such as projects, real-life applications such as role play, interdisciplinary connections, example, build English vocabulary during geography lessons. And teachers can maximize instruction time using appropriate pace, pause, repeating, and silence. Teachers are knowledgeable and goal-oriented, yet flexible enough to ditch the lesson plan and go to plan B if the lesson doesn't work. And teachers should be organized, logical, and clear. Differential instructions are carried out so that the poor students as well as the strong students are able to benefit from the lesson. And teachers utilize technologies such as Mentimeter, BlendSpace, WordWall, and Kahoot, as well as feedback in a timely, specific, and ongoing manner. However, in the Malaysian context, teachers do have this problem of rushing to complete the syllabuses and too bogged down by paperwork that steals time from lesson plan, unrealistic expectations from management and parents, as well as teachers are a bit too accessible in this computer age. So to help teachers, we can support from the community, have trainings, internships, feedback from students, head of departments, as well as colleagues, and to overcome the age limits, job market competition, as well as artificial intelligences, because students think that they do not need teachers any longer. Because there's a generation of students who have short attention span because they focus on computer and games, as well as this generation of students who are psychologically fragile due to pandemic. But yes, perhaps Mr. Alvin can give us some light on the counseling session. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Alvon. Yes, it is very, very obvious, and children at this age, this era, the learning method has changed, has evolved, so to say. Yeah, they are more into AI, and that they are so technologically advanced. So I think our teacher, it'll be only fair if we give our teachers the opportunity to explore themselves, explore the new technologies, and incorporate that in our lessons. And I think what you said, I agree with that as well. Like incorporating 21st century learning and teaching into our lessons, and not too focused on finishing up the syllabus. Yeah, and I think our teachers are still in that era where they are afraid to come out of the traditional method. I think it's a good time for us to explore more on yeah, just putting away the syllabus for some time and focusing on what is important. Yeah, thank you so much, Miss Elwon, for your input. Yeah, it was very valuable input, very valuable. Yeah, so now let's go to Mr. Alvin, the only thorn among the roses, I think. Huh? Yeah, Mr. Alvin is head of psychology and counseling section. Mr. Alvin, can you tell us what is learning environment?
Hello, I will share about learning environment. Learning environment is what learners feel inside the classroom and goes beyond the learning content, curriculum, instruction, assessment, furniture, and fixtures. Learning environment is an implicit hidden curriculum. It is the climate of a classroom. Students can't see it, but they can sense it in the classroom. The vibe significantly impacts the students' learning progress. Okay, students thrive when given the right learning environment. A right learning environment makes both learning and teaching take place effectively. Therefore, we need to create an atmosphere that is conducive to learning. A pleasant and hygienic environment will prevail.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's very important. Yeah. Though it is not, it's like written anywhere, but though that is behind the scene, right? Yeah. Okay. Now, how do you set up environment in physical setting?
Okay, we can set up the classroom to fit in different learning needs. Different seating arrangement like round tables, U-shaped clusters, and groups are practical for collaboration learning. Traditional rows, a widely used layout, are especially useful when the class size is big, but it is by far the most criticized arrangement due to the lack of the interaction and the possible tendency of learners' disengagement. So, well-organized seating arrangement fosters collaborative learning among students. The students' academic progress is also closely tied to the environmental satisfaction. Thus, we can provide a cozy and calm environment to the learners. For example, in an environment surrounded with aspects of nature, it helps learners to build brain architecture and enable them to learn more. We can surround lots of plants in the class to keep the air purified. Essential oils can be diffused to allow calm and relaxed bodies. Learners want to come into a room that smells great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I agree with you. Yeah. Yeah. And essential oil will definitely help a lot. Yeah. All right. That's a very good strategy. Okay. What about how do you set up environment in social setting?
Okay. In social settings, school can be a safe and welcoming place where students want to show up every day. We can greet the students warmly by the door with a hug and greeting. I'm so happy you're here. School has to be a reliable, consistent, routine place where things are predictable. Students know how to behave, express themselves, participate, ask questions, and reflect on themselves. We should be open to the students, like caring for their emotions, compassion, know their names, family background, and their learning styles. Students are more engaged and motivated when our bond is strong. Okay, in Malaysia context, Malaysia is a multicultural society with a diversity of religions, races, cultures, and languages. We should teach the students the importance of respecting others' culture to maintain harmony and live peacefully in the society. There could be several things in others' culture that are different from students, and it is not always that students agree with them. But they learn to become more accommodating, accepting, and more broad-minded of others' differences. This makes students broaden their horizon and get away from a particular mindset. That's all my sharing.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, I cannot agree less with you. I cannot agree more with you because, as
Yeah.
you said, once you have the bonding with your student, it's one of the biggest steps that a teacher can do. Well, being an educator myself, uh, in a multicultural country like Malaysia, it'll be so good to know a few words in a different language. Like for me, I speak very minimum Mandarin, but that helps me to relate and create a bonding with my Chinese students, right? Yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
Mr. Alvin, for your input. Thank you very
Thank
much. Yes, Miss Esther, right. Let's talk about instructional planning. Yeah, in Malaysian context, what is the current instructional planning that is being processed or being carried out?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Tharani, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for your insightful sharing. Yes, I agree with all of you that students at this current generation are so different, with different abilities, different exposure here and there, learning, teaching, and in Malaysian context, So here are some examples. There are 5 examples actually on the ongoing instructional planning and the process. And I would insert in some of my suggestions as well, if you don't mind. So the first example is the planning for a blended learning approach. So as we all know, in the light of COVID-19 pandemic, many schools in Malaysia have adopted a blended learning approach that combines both face-to-face and online learning. So my suggestion is teachers must plan their instructional strategies accordingly, ensuring that they provide engaging and interactive online activities and use technology effectively to facilitate learning. And the second example is planning for language acquisition. So as we all know, Malaysia is a multilingual country and many students come from diverse linguistic backgrounds. So teachers must plan their instructional strategies to ensure that all students are provided with opportunities to develop their language skills both in Bahasa Melayu, the national language, and also in English. So this can include incorporating language-rich activities and providing additional support for students who are struggling with language acquisition. And for the third example of the instructional planning that is ongoing is the integration of local context. So as we all know, Malaysia is a country with rich cultural heritage, and teachers must plan their instructional strategies to integrate local context into their lessons. So these can include incorporating local stories and examples into their lessons to make them more relevant and relatable to students. And for the fourth example, like what we mentioned earlier, that all the students are so different learning styles, backgrounds, and so on. So teachers must plan for differentiation in instructions to meet all the needs of all students. So this can include providing additional resources and support for students who are struggling, as well as offering extension activities for students who need more challenges. And for the last one, planning for project-based learning. So project-based learning is an effective instructional strategy that encourages students to take an active role in their learning. So teachers in Malaysia can plan for project-based learning activities that allow students to work collaboratively on real-world problems, therefore developing their critical thinking and problem-solving skills. So as overall, instructional planning in Malaysian context must be tailored to the specific needs of learners, taking into account the diverse cultural and linguistic backgrounds of students, as well as the use of technology and the need for differentiation in instructions. And by planning effectively, teachers can create engaging and meaningful learning experiences that support student growth and achievement. That's all from me. Thank you.
That was a very insightful sharing. Thank you, Ms. Esther. Yeah. So we have had a very good discussion today. But before that, there's also one aspect from the effective instruction, I think, which carries a lot of weight as well. The assessment part of instruction. Yeah, the assessment part. Now, we know that, along the way, we have had quite a few public exams throughout our life. Yeah, in Malaysia, we have had UPSR, we have had PMR, and then SPM towards the end. But now, after the pandemic, the PMR, the UPSR has been abolished, right? And then even the PMR. But however, there are also, they have adapted the school-based assessments, right? Which where from year 1 up to year 6, in the school, every time it's a formative assessment that is being done, and at every end of every semester, a summative assessment is being conducted to gauge the students' understanding on whatever topic that has been learned. I think that is a very useful and very practical way to assess students, right? I'm sure you will agree with me. Please share your thoughts on this as well, panels. Yeah, and also, there's also another one where we have been, our teachers have been selected from each zone of the state, say the dairas, the zones, yeah? And each teacher will be, has been given the task to create questionnaires, and a question bank has been created. And each school will be given a password, and when you key in your password, and a set of questions will be generated for your school particularly. So that means each school will have different sets of questions. And I think that's a fabulous idea to it also helps teachers, right, to gauge their students, and the students can be tested in various ways, and HOTS method will be used as well, right? And I think along the way, and I've also spoken to quite a number of teachers, and I don't know if I don't think now we are doing streaming in schools. Because I think the streaming, they feel that, it's not fair in streaming. But there are also schools that are still streaming students according to ability level. And however, schools which are not doing ability level streaming according to ability level, they are doing differentiated learning in the classroom, which is a fantastic idea, where even their peers will help each other in completing their task and all that. So I think, yeah, our Malaysia is moving towards a very practical way of assessing students, and also our learning style has changed, right? The pandemic has taught us a lot of new things, and blended learning is it's an ongoing thing now. It's becoming a very norm, and it's becoming a common learning platform, where students, even in school at the currently, though they go for physical lessons, there are lessons being uploaded or shared via the online platform. So I think that is a fantastic idea to keep the check and balance, and also to allow students to explore the other opportunities, like, keep them occupied. And the pandemic has taught us so much that we have never thought that we will be, sitting at home and studying, and our students never thought about that. But however, once this happened, this COVID, thanks to COVID, yeah, and that brought us here. So from that, we learned to be ready for anything, right? So I hope, thank you so much, panel. Thank you, Miss Elvon. Thank you, Miss Kathy. Thank you, Mr. Elvin. Thank you, Miss Esther, for your wonderful insight, a wonderful opinion sharing. And I think we all learned a lot today. And have a good day to you. Wonderful. Have a good evening. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Tharani, and everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.